Hello, there is Father Ken Lau, and welcome to the new episode of Nuggets for the Soul. We all have our loved ones, and we want them to be protected, whether that's from illness like COVID, cancer, or from any form of accident, like car accident, or any form of violence. Okay, we want them to be protected, and also this is also the same with Jesus for all of us. He loves us so much. That's why He wants us to be protected. And he made this farewell prayer to his father, and because he already sensed that he's going to suffer soon, and and die on the cross, and uh, and this is his prayer from John chapter 17. You could read it from verse 11 to verse 19. It says there, Jesus says, "Now I am no longer in the world, but they are in the world, and I am coming to you, Holy Father. Protect them in your name, so that you have given me, so that they may be one as we are one." He also says, "I'm not asking you to take them out of the world, but I ask you to protect them from the evil one." Okay, so we see here how the Lord wants to protect us. And we have three enemies of our soul, okay, which is the source of temptation for all of us. And Jesus experienced this temptation from the three enemies. You know, when he was tempted in the desert, he was tempted by the world, to tempt God by casting him off the pinnacle of the temple, and he was also tempted by the flesh when he was tempted to turn the stone to bread. And he was tempted by the devil when the devil showed him all the kingdoms of the world, and the devil promised him that he will give him all this kingdom as long as he worship him. Okay, so, and we see here that the three enemies of the soul corresponds to the world is the lust of the eyes, the flesh is the lust of the flesh, and the devil is the pride of life. Ephesians chapter 2, verse 1 to 3, it says, "You were dead through the trespasses and sins in which you once lived, following the course of this world, following the ruler of the power of the air, the spirit that is now at work among those who are disobedient. All of us once lived among them in the passions of our flesh, following the desires of flesh and senses." Okay, so beasts like wanting to attack us and tempt us, and also to separate us from God, and also to separate us from each other. That's why the Lord prayed that all of us may be one, just as He and His Father are one. Okay, and I'd like to share with you a church document from the Council of Trent. Okay, and it says there, "Nevertheless, let those who think themselves to stand take heed lest they fall, and with fear and trembling work out their salvation in labors, in watching, in alms deeds, in prayers and oblations, in fastings and chastity. For knowing that they are born again unto a hope of glory, but not as yet unto glory, they ought to fear for the combat which yet remains with the flesh, with the world, with the devil, wherein they cannot be victorious unless they be, with God's grace, obedient to the apostle who says, we are debtors not to the flesh, to live according to the flesh. For if you live according to the flesh, you shall die. But if by the Spirit you mortify the deeds of the flesh, you shall live." Okay, so it talks about the flesh and the spirit. The flesh and the spirit are like water and oil. They can't mix. Okay, if you want your flesh to weaken, you need to strengthen the spirit. If you want the spirit to weaken, you strengthen the flesh. Okay, that's why we just celebrated Pentecost, and we need the infilling of the Holy Spirit in our lives every day, because the more that the Holy Spirit is in us, the more that we will be given the power to resist any temptation and also to follow God's will. Now, if we've fallen, don't get discouraged. Stand up once again and continue this fight. Okay? So, be a living saint. Jesus, Mary, Joseph, we trust.